Hey, thanks for checking out Data Fetcher. I just want to take you through a little bit how it's configured, as well as a couple use case scenarios, just to kind of give you an idea of how this component can be used in your screen flows. So I have a very basic screen flow right now. We see it's called Data Fetcher Test Flow. In this flow, you see that there's only a screen. However, when I run this flow or debug this flow, we're going to see that I'm going to pick a set of accounts and return those accounts in a data table. However, actually on that screen as well is the data fetcher component that is actually going to do a query into my Salesforce instance and return those records into my data table. So how I have that currently configured actually in Flow is I just have a custom component called Quick Choice that basically lets me build a pick list a little bit more friendlier. When we look at my values and my choices here, so I have all accounts that is a standard SQL query that basically says like billing city, ID, name, phone, industry from account. However, I'm going to add a where clause on my technology accounts to get all of them where industry is equal to technology. Then in my data fetcher component, I'm just taking the value from my quick choice. So my query string is always going to change based off of how that user interacts with quick choice. And then my output for retrieved records from data fetcher is actually what's feeding my data table. So you can see I have 3 layers of reactivity in my screen here that are basically all interactive with one another. All of this is done just utilizing a screen flow. So with data fetcher, I don't have to create a custom Lightning web component to do Lightning message service or something like that. I simply drop it onto my screen. Reactive screens is enabled in my org, and I'm able to dynamically populate and show records to be used in the same screen, or I can actually use that retrieve records or first record further downstream in my flow, maybe doing updates or loops, another screen, whatever you want. In today's world, without reactive screens, without data fetcher, if I want to do the same type of activity, I basically have to set my query criteria in the first screen. I would then have to do a get step, and then I'd have to add another screen to my flow, adding on some overhead in order to show that information. More clicks, more processing. However, with reactive screen flows and data fetcher, we're able to actually do all of this contained on one screen. So let's take a look at what this looks like. Let me go ahead and I'll just click kind of debug so you can see what's going on the right-hand side here. So we're on our screen. Data fetcher is headless, so that means it's not going to show inside of the UI. Inside of your flow, up here on my quick choice, we see my choices here for all accounts. So if I choose all accounts, what happened is I went and did a SQL query, returned those records in data fetcher, and then data fetcher actually passed those records into my data table here. Come back to here, if I do technology accounts, we see that instantly changes on my screen without actually having to click next, without having to go into another screen, so on and so forth. So that's a very simple use case. Coming in summer 23 release, formulas are reactive inside of Flow. So that means I can take more inputs. So let's go ahead and take a look at how that looks. All right, so we've shown one option. So coming in summer 23, like I said, formulas are going to be reactive. And data fetcher works with that as well. So my first quick choice, like I said, this is going to be my industry choice. Here, I'm actually going to add an account type. And then I've changed up data fetcher a little bit. So data fetcher now in my query string is going to look at what I have called query formula. And that's actually a formula that I built that's a SQL query. So basically here I'm going to say select billing city, ID, name, phone, industry, and I actually forgot to add account type. From account where industry is equal to the choice value from my first choice component, and then type is going to be equal to the type value from the second quick choice component. So you can see here, I'm actually going to use 2 values to then build my query. So if we debug this, we should see some different options here. So you see I have my technology accounts to equal partner. I don't have any. However, if I change this to customer, I now see that I have Salesforce. Now, if I were to change this to energy, I don't currently have any energy accounts that are equal to customer. However, I can do partner. And this is all live data also. So if I go back into Salesforce, I have all of my accounts. I have several that are different type here. So let's say I want to change United Oil and Gas, which is an energy, to a customer. What should happen is when I go back into my screen flow and I do customer, I now see that United Oil and Gas is there. That's after a user made an interaction inside of the database, and then in my flow, it's actually live data because we're actually going to be querying those records as the user interacts with the screen. A lot of different potential use cases out there. If you have questions, feel free to drop a comment in the sections there. And my contact information is in the App Exchange posting. Feel free to reach out. More than happy to answer your use cases, and always interested to hear your use cases for how we might advance this to the next stage.